Good evening, everyone. I'm Ankit, and you're watching Indian Express Analysis, which goes live every day at 4 p.m. And this is the StudyIQ IS English channel. So, if you still haven't subscribed us, please do subscribe us because you'll get notified every time we make a video live, right? Now, today is 4th of June, and we are going to discuss important news and articles which have picked up from our favorite Indian Express newspaper. We'll start our today's discussion by understanding the most important news event of the day. That is, the new regulations have been brought for Ladakh, which increases the political, economic, social and cultural protection for people inhabiting Ladakh or natives of Ladakh, right? So what are these regulations? How these have been brought? What are the changes made in these regulations? All of this we are going to cover in our today's discussion. Now, this is something important from governance perspective. Therefore, the relevant paper here is GS paper 2, right? In the second article, we'll be dealing with an important space mission known as Axiom 4 mission. Axiom 4 mission, this is notable especially because India's astronaut will go into space, and for the first time an Indian citizen will visit International Space Station. Earlier, people like Kalpana Chawla, people like Sunita Williams, they have already visited Indian Space Station, but these are people of Indian origin. They are not Indian citizens, right? So that is why this Axiom 4 mission becomes very important for us. After more than 40 years, an Indian citizen is going into space, and that too for the first time in the International Space Station, and they'll be going on the Axiom 4 mission. So what are the details, what this mission will do in the space? All of this I'm going to tell you in our today's discussion. Now, this article is particularly relevant from GS paper 3 perspective, that is the subject of science and technology, right? In the third article, we'll be understanding an economic union in the countries, particularly of Western Africa, that is ECOWAS. Why is ECOWAS in news? What are the members of ECOWAS? Have some members left ECOWAS recently? All of this I'm going to tell you in our today's discussion. So that is important. Now, ECOWAS is primarily an economic union, but this becomes important from place in news perspective, right? So that will be covered in our today's discussion. In the fourth article, which is a left out article of yesterday, we'll be dealing geographical characteristics of the country Paraguay. Why Paraguay? Because Paraguayan president is currently on his official visit to India, and this is the first official visit of a head of state post the Operation Sindoor. So that is why his visit is highlighted. But as Paraguay is not such a big country, so the questions from Paraguay appearing in the mains examination, the probability is quite less. So what is important from our exams perspective, particularly from Paraguay side, all of this I'm going to cover in our today's discussion. This again is relevant from places in news. In the fifth article, we'll be understanding about the Valley of Flowers National Park, because this national park was opened for tourists on June the 1st, and that is why this particular national park becomes important. So what are the habitats, where this national park is located, other geographical, floral, faunal aspects, all of this I'm going to cover, and this is relevant from GS paper 3 perspective because it is a protected area in India, right? And the last article will also covering another country of South America, that is Colombia. Colombia, most of you must have heard, because this was the country of the most famous drug trafficker ever, known as Pablo Escobar. But no, we are not dealing about Pablo Escobar today. We are dealing about the country Colombia. Again, why is Colombia in news? All of this will be covered, and also the important geographical features of Colombia, which you need to know before giving your exams next year, right? So this also is a place in news. So 3 places in news today, very important from our today's discussion, right? So these 6 are the articles that I'm going to cover, and as usual, you can download the notes from the Telegram channel known as ATS Live. What you can do, go on the top right hand corner of a channel, search the words ATS Live, and you will find the channel. Subscribe to it if you still haven't, and download the notes. For some reason, if you are unable to find the channel, you have this QR code which you can scan, and this will definitely take you to the channel, right? So Baga, Augustine, Mini, Geeta, Bishwajit, Rishi, Shushmita, Kanchan, Jui, Yashi, Sipra, Reshma, all of you, good evening, a very good evening to all of you. Namaskar to Sipra, okay? Now, let us start our today's discussion with this first article, obviously the most important article given in 2 different pages of Indian Express, the first page and the explain sections, and it talks about the new protections that have been extended by Union government for Ladakh. But why is Union government extending protections to Ladakh? Because Ladakh is a Union territory, so the responsibility of the governance ultimately of a Union territory lies with the Union government, right? So that is why this is important, and important from polity perspective, so I've written written the relevant paper here is GS paper 2. First, let us understand why we are discussing Ladakh today. The central government recently notified a series of regulations for Ladakh's land, jobs as well as cultural preservation, which are aimed at addressing concerns raised by the civil society in Ladakh over the past 5 years. And they have been raising this concern since 2019, and this was the year when the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir was bifurcated into two union territories, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and Union Territory of Ladakh. Whereas the Union Territory of Jammu Kashmir, they were provided with a legislative assembly. However, same was not provided for the Ladakh Union Territory, and that is why many famous people belonging to civil society of Ladakh, including an very famous person known as Sonam Wangchuk, they were agitating against provision of such important, and they were demanding that central government give them certain kind of benefits and relief. So that is why central government now has notified several protection for people living in Ladakh, which includes reservation, which includes domicile requirement, which includes cultural preservation. All of this I am going to cover in great detail today, right? Now, this new legal framework, it introduces domicile-based job reservation system, which means people living in Ladakh for some years only, they will only be able to get benefits, not people like you and I who do not reside in Ladakh. Similarly, it recognizes local languages and provides procedural clarity in recruitment of the civil services of Union Territory of Ladakh, right? So, this is why we are discussing this article. So, this is the context. Now, before analyzing what were the protections, we need to understand what has government or union government introduced in Ladakh, right? So let us understand the key regulations that have been notified by union government. First is Ladakh Civil Services Decentralization Recruitment Amendment Regulation 2025. What it does, it introduces a domicile-based job eligibility in government post. Now, government post in central government will not be covered here. Only the government post under the government of Union Territory of Ladakh, only they will be provided domicile here. And the people who will be qualified for domicile of Ladakh are the one who have lived in Ladakh for 15 years, but this will start to become applicable from 2019. So people who is residing in Ladakh from 2019 onwards, after 15 years, that is from 2034, they'll be called as natives of Ladakh. Similarly, people who have studied in Ladakh for 7 years and have appeared for class 10th and 12th examination in Ladakh only, they are also eligible to get domicile certificate, and the children and spouses of Ladakhi domicile people, as well as central government employees who have served in Ladakh for at least 10 years, only these people will be qualified to get domicile certificate in Ladakh. So this basically certifies that so and so person is a native of Ladakh, and automatically that person can get jobs in the post of Union Territory of Ladakh, not in the central government post. Understood? So what important here is that this will at least require a person to live in Ladakh for 15 years, and this will start from 2019 onwards. So the certificates, they will only come into effect from 2034. This is what you need to remember, okay? Government also extended similar domicile requirements for jobs in Jammu and Kashmir, but that started from 2020 onwards, right? But this starts from 2034 onwards, because this will become applicable from 2019. So you can understand 15 years from 2019 is 2034. Now, to get these domicile certificates, government has also amended the regulation. It lays out the process of obtaining these domiciliary certificates, and these will be provided by the Tehsildar, who is the issuing authority of these certificates. And if you have certain problem, you can appeal the decision of this Tehsildar with Deputy Commissioner, who will serve as an appellate authority, and you can file for these applications both in physical mode as well as online mode. So it makes process easier by introducing digital governance, and also it lays down a certain issuing authority and appellate authority, so that people are not deprived of their domiciliary requirements or certificate if they are indeed qualifying for that, right? Now let us understand newer regulation. Now this Union Territory of Ladakh Reservation Amendment Regulation 2025, this increases the cap on amount of reservation that can be provided for people belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBC, as well as socially and educationally backward classes. In India, overall, there is an unset requirement that the reservation will be capped at 50%, but not in Ladakh. It has extended this cap to 85%, and this 85% does not include quotas provided for economically weaker section. Understood? So this quota almost exclusively will be provided to people living in this category, more prominently scheduled tribes, because people belonging to Buddhist religion, people belonging to Muslim religion, they are qualifying as scheduled tribes in the state of Ladakh, right? Similarly, it extends this reservation even to professional institutions like medical institutions, engineering colleges, etc. They will also have to admit students, providing 85% quota to these categories, right? And this aligns with a broader objective that I told you. 90% of Ladakhi population are categorized as scheduled tribe, belonging to Buddhist religion, belonging to Islamic religion, right? Similarly, it provides a near universal reservation for locals. You can understand this is not getting eroded by newer kind of quotas that has been introduced by the government. So it nearly provides that when a state has so high percentage of people belonging to tribal population, that is why it is justifying enough it to provide them with reservation by 85%, right? Similarly, a Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council, it operates as an administrative body in districts of Leh, Ladakh as well as Kargil, right? Now, in this council also, reservation for 1/3 of seats have been provided for women, and they will be provided in rotation basis, like similar to how reservations are provided to women in Panchayati Raj institutions. But what you need to understand that this regulation does not provide any legislative power to Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council. They will continue to function as an administrative body only without having any legislative power. So this body has played a key role in development in districts like Leh, Ladakh, Kargil, but the powers of this council remains limited, especially in the absence of 6th schedule protection. So what is 6th schedule protection? I will let you know later on, right? So this is what the changes have been done in the regulation. Now another change was made, that is a very important change in terms of cultural change. It recognized certain languages as an official language in Ladakh, including languages of English, Hindi, Urdu, Bhoti and Purgi, and they are categorized as an official language of Union Territory of Ladakh. Similarly, Section 4 of this Ladakhi official language regulation, it also empowers the administrator of Ladakh, who is the nominee of central government, to set up institutional mechanisms and an academy of art, culture and language to promote native languages, which are Shina, Broskat, Balti as well as Ladakhi, right? So these are seen as a cultural protection that has been extended to natives of Ladakh, especially to their languages and to their dialect, right? So these are the important regulations that have been introduced by government. Now let us understand the significance of these regulations, right? First of all, it provides a comprehensive attempt by the central government to provide a region specific rules for Ladakh. Earlier what we see that Union Territory majorly are governed on a single principle basis, but you need to understand that the needs of a Union Territory, say of Ladakh, is different than a Union Territory of Daman, Diu and Dadra and Nagar Haveli, right? So accordingly, we also have to provide region specific modification or changes in rules so that it suits their own society. Similarly, this is the first time where government has recognized that you need a region specific rule to protect people living in a particular area, and this is very important, especially for Ladakh, because it is a geographically isolated region. Due to its geography, a brutal climate, the amount of industrial development is little to no in Ladakh, right? So you need to protect the native population so that outsiders don't enter these territories and gain a major control over their economic and political resources, right? So by defining domicile criteria and creating a legal filter for recruitment, the government has taken a significant step toward reserving jobs which are available in Ladakh for native population, right? Similarly, by providing their language recognition, official recognition, it providing official recognition to languages like Bhoti as well as Purgi, which are mother tongues for native sections of population, as well as promoting dialects like Ladakhi, Balti and other minorities, they reflect an understanding of the government that you need to protect cultural identity of a population, because if you threaten the cultural identity of a population, people will actually become agitated, right? So to protect people, not just you have to extend them political benefits, economic benefits, but you also need to understand their cultural milieu and provide protection to the same, right? So this is why this regulation is very important, especially for people of Ladakh. But there have been certain shortcomings in these regulations. What are these shortcomings? Let us understand them one by one, right? First is that these regulations have originated due to the power given to President of India under Article 240. So if you read Article 240, it states that the President of India, to ensure peace, progress and good governance in a union territory, can bring any regulation, and this regulation has the same effect as a law passed by Indian Parliament, right? But this is basically an executive decision. It is an executive resolution which can be amended or revoked as per the need and demands of the central government anytime. You need not make any constitutional amendment or a law passed by Parliament to change any executive resolution that is passed under Article 240. Whereas people of Ladakh, for a long time, they were demanding protections under 6th schedule. 6th schedule, if it is given to any tribal or autonomous council living in a particular state, the benefits under 6th schedule, it provides legislative benefits, it provides many kind of administrative benefits, like the legislative councils in those 6th schedule areas, they have a power to bring their own budget, they have the power to collect taxes, they even have the power to dispose of justice in a certain matter. So that is why autonomous council under 6th schedule, they have a constitutional protection which includes legislative power, executive power, judiciary power. But the regulation that have been brought by central government right now, these are done under Article 240, not under 6th schedule. However, people were demanding 6th schedule protection. Why? Because once given these protection, you only need to amend the constitution before you can revoke these protection. Whereas in the case of Article 240, it can be changed by another executive resolution without any need to do constitutional amendment or even needing to pass a law in Parliament, right? So that is why they wanted 6th schedule protection, not a regulation under Article 240. Similarly, people of Ladakh, for a long time, they are demanding that you need to restrict land purchases, particularly people belonging to outside. That people belonging to outside other than regions of Ladakh, they can't purchase the land in Ladakh, much similar to how regulations have been introduced in Union Territory of Kashmir, right? But these regulations, they do not restrict land purchases by non-domicile or outsiders in Ladakh, leaving Ladakhi land vulnerable to outsiders land grab, and this is a major concern given the region's fragile ecology, tribal demography and over tourism pressures. So although this region is majorly supported by tourist activities, but people want these tourists to come and go. They don't want these tourists to stay and purchase land because they think it will affect their culture, it will affect their ecology. So that is why people of Ladakh, they were also demanding that central government makes it a certain effect that no people from outside can buy land in Ladakh, right? But this has not been extended by the regulation passed by government. Similarly, Ladakh even today, unlike the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, it does not have a legislative assembly. Whereas to make administrative decisions, there is a Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council, but these are essentially administrative bodies, not without the powers of making laws in critical areas like land, education and forest, which would have been the case had this body given recognition under the 6th schedule like other states in Northeast, right? So that is why people were demanding real legislative powers, people were demanding budgetary powers, people were demanding their power to levy taxes on the subjects, which is provided under 6th schedule, but this is not provided. So people in Ladakh even today do not have a legislative autonomy, unlike the 6th schedule areas of Northeast or even unlike the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, right? Now another challenge is the limited amount of cultural protection. Now local languages like Bhoti, Purgi and dialects like Sina and Balti, they have been recognized, but there is no roadmap for their use in official administration, education or judiciary, because these regulations, they are recommendatory in nature and they do not have an enforceable mandate, which makes this a symbolic move, not a substantive move. And there are other limitations also. First is the domicile requirement is seen as too lenient. People were demanding that at least 3 years of stay is essential before you provide domicile, but now government has provided domicile after 15 years of stay. Similarly, there is no roadmap for ecological protection, because Ladakh is a region with fragile ecology and people were wanting some kind of ecological restrictions also. Similarly, it does not talk about employment generation, because in 5 years there has been no single notification for a government job in the Union Territory Administration of Ladakh. Most of the jobs that have been provided are on contractual basis. So people were demanding that please hire more people in the government so that the native Ladakhis stand to benefit out of it, right? So these are the limitations of the regulation. So I expect I've discussed everything in detail. You have any doubt, you can ask me. Tony Stark, sir, when can I post daily answer writing practice questions? Sir, lack of ownership safeguards a security concern too? Well, not so much as a security concern, but more like an political concern for native people, right? See, overall the security is under the responsibility of union government. But when people from other states start to purchase the land, the native people, they start to feel threatened, because first of all, the land prices will go up. And also it will involve people belonging to other cultures who may or may not mix in the local culture, right? So this has been an issue for any area that has been isolated for long. This has been an issue in states like Himachal Pradesh, in states like Uttarakhand. This has been an issue majorly in the states of Northeast, that when you're living in a particular culture, in a geographically isolated region, you won't want other people to come and change your culture, right? This has been major a concern in Northeast because of illegal migration that has happened from countries like Bangladesh, from countries like Myanmar, right? Now, this is a chart that will help you understand the differences in regulation in union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and in Ladakh. What you need to understand majorly is that legislature is present in Ladakh but not present in Jammu and Kashmir, but not present in Ladakh. Similarly, domicile protection or domicile based jobs are offered to local people in both the union territories, but these are applicable from different timelines. Land protection is available in Jammu and Kashmir, not in Ladakh, and 6th schedule, although not applicable for Jammu and Kashmir, it is still in demand but not been made available yet for Union Territory of Ladakh. Both states now have the reservation policy, and language recognition are also provided in these two union territories, right? Now let's see if you are able to solve this particular question that appeared in the 2015 prelims. Hi Chini Krishna, hi Dakkan, good evening Tony Stark. Where do you come up with such names? Sarang, Mini, Shushmita, Baga, Tony, Yashi, all of you are right. Option A is the right answer. 5th schedule and 6th schedule are brought or that are there in the constitution to protect the interest of the scheduled tribe community, right? Now moving to the next article. This article appeared in today's newspaper. This article is from yesterday's newspaper. Both of them talk about one and only the same thing, that is axiom formation. Now this is important from GS paper 3, that is the subject of science and technology. Now why are we discussing this article? First, let us understand the context of our today's discussion. Now this person, Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla, he will be the first person of Indian origin or Indian citizen after 40 years who will visit space. Who was the first person of India going to space? Please let me know in the comments quickly. Now, after 4 decades since the travel of Rakesh Sharma to space, who became the first Indian to travel in space, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, who is a 39-year-old pilot in the Indian Air Force. He is in the final leg of his pre-launch quarantine at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And he will pilot a Dragon spacecraft that belongs to the company SpaceX. And he will take him along with 3 other astronauts to International Space Station, which is located about 400 kilometers above sea level, right? Yes. So this is why it is a very big deal. Earlier astronauts belonging to or of Indian origin like Kalpana Chawla, like Sunita Williams, they were of Indian origin, but they were not Indian citizens when they went to space. So that is why after Rakesh Sharma, the second person of Indian origin or Indian citizen who is going to space will be the Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla. So in this regard, let us understand few details about the mission that he is going to space in. Right now, in this mission, the Group Captain Shukla, he will pilot a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft which will be launched aboard a Falcon 9 rocket, and this will be the part of Axiom 4 mission. Axiom 4 mission basically is a commercial venture which involves NASA, which involves the private company SpaceX as well as Axiom Space. And ISRO signed a deal with NASA in 2023 which allowed these two bodies to share experiences with each other. And according to this deal only, Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is going to as a pilot on this Axiom 4 mission. Now Shukla will be the first Indian astronaut to ever visit an international space station, and this comes 4 decades after Rakesh Sharma's historic 1984 space flight where he made a very famous comment when Indira Gandhi asked her कि आपको कैसा लग रहा है space से, तो he said सारे जहां से अच्छा, right? So this was how a space journey can actually transform the space journey. But you understand, India or ISRO of 1984 is very different of ISRO of 2025. In 1984, ISRO had a very rudimentary form of rocket known as Space Launch Vehicle. Now ISRO is actually planning to send astronauts into space. So that is why the differences between the ISROs of these 2 years are quite stark, and this marks a new chapter in India's human spaceflight journey, because India is going to take such journey under the mission called as Gaganyaan, right? Now in this regard, let us understand first of all what experiments will be conducted by Group Captain Shukla. Now for him, the ISRO has designed about 10 experiments originally that were meant for Gaganyaan, because Gaganyaan was originally scheduled for 2022. Now it is expected that Gaganyaan mission will only appear in 2027. Now first, the experiments designed by ISRO to be conducted by Group Captain Shukla will include studying the effects of microgravity on how muscle functions or dysfunctions into space, how it changes physical and cognitive impacts of astronauts, particularly when they are required to utilize computer screens in the space. So this will be the subject of study by the Axiom 4 mission. Similarly, it will also study the impact of space flight on the growth of 6 varieties of crops. We understand ISRO conducted a mission in SpaceX where it grew crops in space, right? So this also similarly will affect or understand the growth of 6 different varieties of crop. Also, it will be sending few tardigrades also. Tardigrades are basically microscopic organisms which are water dwelling in nature, and they are called as water bears or moss piglets. Now they are known to survive in extremely harsh environments, and they are often studied by space organizations so that they have a better understanding of how life will survive in extraterrestrial conditions, which can be quite extreme, right? So in total, the key experiments include all of this, that is studying the cognitive impact on using the computer screens in microgravity conditions, how it affects the cognitive effects of astronauts, studying how the behavior and response of tardigrades in extraterrestrial condition, impact of spaceflight on 6 different crops, and growth and cellular responses in cyanobacteria and microalgae. All of these will be the subject of the experiment conducted by Axiom 4 mission. Now in this regard, this Axiom 4 mission is also seen as a boost for India's own spaceflight mission, that is Gaganyaan. First of all, although this Axiom 4 is not a mission of ISRO, but it directly supports India's upcoming Gaganyaan program. First of all, why? Because Group Captain Shukla is one of the 4 astronauts who has been selected and trained for Gaganyaan mission by ISRO, and his hands-on spaceflight experience will be valuable for ISRO to learn more about how such human spaceflight are conducted. And ISRO has planned Gaganyaan for 2027 right now, and this will help both Group Captain Shukla as well as ISRO to relay their practical experiences. First of all, how Wing Commander or Group Captain will interact with other members of the crew in space, how they will communicate with the ground units available on Earth. That will provide a rich experience for both ISRO as well as Wing Commander or Group Captain Shukla. Similarly, it will also help ISRO to refine their training protocols, mission planning, and also undertake safety procedures based on the learnings of Group Captain Shukla. So this is how it will provide a much needed boost for ISRO so that they can learn from the experience and apply both good practices and learnings in the India's upcoming space program also, right? So that is why such kind of a experiments are very essential when you are planning so big things in space. Now, there was this question in 2025 which asked you how many of these space missions give idea or encourage and support microgravity research. So please let me know the correct answer quickly. Yes, all of you are right. Any doubt? Sarang, Dakkan Babu, Yashi, Reshma, Kanchan, Tony, Mini, Chidi, Rishi, Chandrakishore, yes. Group Captain Shukla, yes. Now, moving to the next article, this talks that Togo citizens, they want to leave ECOWAS, and this has been found out by a new survey. Now, a recent survey, it has revealed that about half of Togolese population, they are supporting leaving ECOWAS and they rather want to join a Sahel States Alliance, right? So, what are these two bodies, ECOWAS and Sahel State Alliance? Let us find out in our today's discussion. Now, ECOWAS is basically an abbreviation for the Economic Community of Western African States, and it was founded back in 1975 through Treaty of Lagos, and it is headquartered in Abuja, which is located in Nigeria. Now, the mission of this economic union is to provide economic integration among member states, and the vision is that seamless region with demographic governance, rule of law, and effective governance will actually help these countries dispose of violent incidences and help them grow economically together, right? So this is basically the purpose of ECOWAS. What you need to understand, the objective of this grouping is to have a unified currency much similar to Euro in European Union, having a single trade zone in areas of industry, transport, telecommunication, energy, finance, socio-cultural spheres also. And the more important part is that it also effectively deals with conflict resolution, because it aims to resolve regional military conflicts by having a peacekeeping force of their own known as Economic Community of West African States Monitoring Group, ECOMOG Peacekeeping Force, and it was led earlier by Nigeria. It has undertaking many missions in the member countries of ECOWAS. So the next big question is, who are member countries of ECOWAS? This is the image that will help you simplify it. But these three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, these are denominated in different colors. So why are they denominated in different color? That we need to understand. Now, the current members of ECOWAS are 12, and 3 members, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, they have already left ECOWAS and formed what is known as Alliance of Sahel States, and it is to seek military support from Russia while distancing themselves from the influence of US and France that had a quite effect in formation of this grouping, right? And Sahel is a semi-arid region in western and north central Africa, serving as a transitional zone between the Sahara Desert in the north and the humid savannas located in the south, right? So basically these three countries are what is called as Sahel region, and it separates the Sahara Desert located here from the humid region located on the southern coast of Western Africa, right? Now let's see how many of you are able to solve this particular question. Well, so much civil and military unrest because of tribal mindset, because of lack of rule of law. To stop violence in any country, including developed countries and developing countries like India, you need a very effective law and order, which is governed by a democratically elected government, and they have a power to control population using police and army. So this is very effective for a country to function nicely. So whatever country that is able to discharge good public order, they are able to achieve high economic growth and political stability, right? This is not available in states of Western Africa because government does not have a control over law and order. Different tribes, they form militias of their own and they fight each other. Now, with reference to economic community of Western African states, consider the following statement. ECOWAS was established to promote economic integration among Western African countries. This is correct. All member states of ECOWAS currently operate under democratic governance. This is incorrect. ECOWAS has a regional peacekeeping force that has intervened in conflicts within the region. This is correct. So, option C is the right answer, obviously. So, टोनी, बागा, ऋषि, चिनी मिनी क्या ही हो गया, विश्वजीत, यशी, सुष्मिता, सारंग, रेशमा, विद्युत, कंचन, all of you are right. Because of the very difficult geographical terrain, Africa has all kinds of climate except Arctic kind of climate. Africa is everything. Africa is desert, Africa is very green areas, marshy peatlands, temperate areas in South Africa also, right? Now we have started with Pratigya batches, right? Pratigya batches are the batches which are offered under foundation course, and currently the evening batches admissions are ongoing right now. This batch will start from 10th June onwards. To take admissions in these batches, what you need to do, go to our StudyIQ website, right? Click on this. Once you go to our website, you'll be needing to log in with your mobile number. Once you're done with login, click on Explore Courses. When you click on Explore Courses, the upper tile actually shows what kind of a language you want to take your admissions in. Click on UPSC English, right? When you click on UPSC English, the left tile is the one that represents the foundation batches, right? Once you click this tile, it says that the diamond batch is right now available at 37,999, right? But you can get admissions in Pratigya batches even on amounts less than this amount. How? Let me tell you that. Click on Buy Now first. Once you click on Buy Now, on the right there is an option to add promo code. Click on this and write here ATS Live, which is the same code which is flashing on the bottom half of your screen, right? Click on Apply. Once you click on Apply, see the discount of 7,000 rupees is applicable and the diamond batch right now is at 30,999. Platinum is at 27,500, gold is at 16,999. Out of these three, you can take obviously admissions in any one of them, but my recommendation to you is take diamond batch. And why am I saying diamond batch? Because diamond batch has all the benefits available on StudyIQ's platform, whereas gold and platinum exclude some of these features, right? So that is why make the decision accordingly. You are free to do that, but my recommendation would be to opt for diamond batch. And this batch is starting from 10th of June, right? Please remember that. Now moving to this article, it talks about India and Paraguay and their ties because Paraguayan president is in India on his official visit, and India is for the first time hosting a head of state of a foreign country after the Operation Sindoor. Now in this statement that were given after the meeting of Prime Minister Modi and Paraguayan president, it said that two countries are united in fight against terrorism and there is an immense possibility of cooperation to fight against shared challenges which include cybercrime, organized crime and drug trafficking. Now obviously Paraguay is a small country, so automatically a question on mains probably won't be asked, most likely it won't be asked, right? What is important are the geographical characteristics of the Paraguay country. It is a landlocked nation located in South Central America. This is the Paraguay country, right? So it is a landlocked country because it does not have access to sea anywhere. It is bordered by countries of Bolivia, Brazil as well as Argentina. It does not border Uruguay. Please remember this. Uruguay extends here. The border of Paraguay extends here. So only three countries. BBA. So the abbreviation of bordering country becomes the course that many of you must have opted, BBA, right? Now the capital city of Paraguay is Asunción. I don't know if I've pronounced this correctly, but this is the capital, and I've told you the bordering countries are Bolivia, Brazil as well as Argentina. Now let us understand important geographical characteristics about Paraguay. What you need to understand that the line Tropic of Capricorn passes through it. This is the equator. You can see it is not passing Paraguay, rather it is Tropic of Capricorn which is passing through Paraguay. So please remember these kind of information, right? Now, major geographical features that it is drained by important rivers. More important is the Paraguay, from which the name of the country is derived, and it divides countries into two parts, that is East and West Paraguay, right? Other rivers are Parana, Pilamacio and Epa. Mountain and plateaus are Amambe Mountains, Baracue Mountains and Cordillera San Rafael, whereas lakes which are draining this region or which are available in Paraguay are Lake Yapua as well as Lake Parasai, right? So these are the important features that you need to know. I know remembering these can be quite difficult, as much as it has been difficult for me to pronounce them, but please do not forget that the river Paraguay is what lends the name to country Paraguay, right? And Tropic of Cancer passes through it, and the bordering countries of Paraguay are BBA, Brazil, Bolivia as well as Argentina, right? Now let's see how many of you are able to solve this question. This is a very similar question to the one that appeared in prelims of 2023. Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, not Chile, not Paraguay, not Peru, not Uruguay. So option B is the right answer. Baga, Yashi, Reshma, Mini, Tony, Shushmita, Chini, Bishwajit, Rishi, Jui, all of you are right. Now moving to the next article, this talks about Valley of Flowers in Uttarakhand, which is open to tourists from June the 1st. So what is important in this discussion is the context first. Now the Valley of Flowers in Uttarakhand, it is open to tourists from June the 1st this year, and it usually stays open for about 4 months, that is from June to September. And it closes sometime in October because winter sets in, and the presence of snow in this region makes it dangerous for tourists and at other times of the year, right? Now the location of the Valley of Flowers, which also includes Valley of Flowers National Park, it is located in Chamoli district, and it is also designated as a UNESCO's World Heritage Site, particularly a Natural World Heritage Site. Now it is a beautiful alpine meadow with hundreds of species of flowers blooming in the woodland forest and has long enchanted tourists. Now this valley is also home to variety of birds and animals, all of which we are going to find out in our today's discussion. So this is a picture that I've taken from the internet highlighting how beautiful it is in Valley of Flowers. Understand? Now do not get, so we need to cover important information also. Now this valley is believed to have been discovered in 1931 when 3 British mountaineers led by Frank S. Smith, they lost their way and chanced to find this spectacular valley. Now Nanda Devi, which is the second highest mountain in India, it opened for scaling in 1974, and the Nanda Devi Biosphere was created in 1988 so that gradual controlled tourism slowly opens up this region, because once this has been discovered by mountaineers, this region witnessed very high inflow of tourists. But you understand, this is an ecologically fragile region, so we need to control the amount of tourists that arrive at this location. What you need to understand, that Nanda Devi is India's second largest mountain or second tallest mountain after Kanchenjunga, and it holds religious significance because Nanda is considered as a patron goddess of Garhwal and Kumaon. But why are we discussing Nanda Devi when we are discussing Valley of Flowers? This you will know why. Now Valley of Flowers, it is because Valley of Flowers is located within Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, which is spread over an area of 87 square kilometers. Also, Valley of Flowers is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and forms one of the 2 core zones of Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. Other core zone includes Nanda Devi National Park. Both these national park, Valley of Flowers as well as Nanda Devi, they are located in Chamoli only, right? Now, this provides a gentle landscape, that is the Valley of Flowers National Park, as against the rugged mountain wilderness of the Nanda Devi National Park. So these two, although located in same district, but the terrain of these two national parks are very different. The gentle landscape of Valley of Flowers, it is contrasted with the rugged mountains that is there in Nanda Devi National Park, and together they encompass a unique transition zone which transits from mountain ranges of Zanskar to Great Himalayas, right? So what you understand from this discussion, in Chamoli district there is this Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve, and the core zone of Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve includes 2 national parks, Valley of Flowers and Nanda Devi National Park. And both of them are located in Chamoli in Uttarakhand, right? Now let us talk about specifically about Valley of Flowers National Park. The habitat that is available in this national park has a variety of habitats from foothills to alpine zones, from waterfalls to stream of forest, and thus it is very rich in biodiversity. What you need to understand that the entire habitat is known as or is located in temperate region, right? Unlike many other national parks like the Namdapha National Park in Arunachal Pradesh, which has variety of terrains, right from tropical forest to temperate forest, everything is covered in Namdapha, not in Valley of Flowers National Park. It has exclusively a temperate climate, right? Now, the fauna or the kind of animals that are inhabiting the region, it is situated at an altitude obviously of 3600 meters above sea level, and therefore it is home to rare and amazing wildlife species. It includes grey langur, it includes flying squirrel, Himalayan weasel, bhadal, which is basically a blue sheep, lime butterfly, and predators like black bear, red fox, as well as snow leopard, right? So these are the animals that are inhabiting Valley of Flowers National Park. Now let us understand the more important aspect, that is the flora or the trees or plants that are available in the region. Now, flower species like orchids, poppies, primulas, marigold, etc., which are very famous once you gift it to your partners, these are also available in Valley of Flower, thereby lending the national park its name. Now, this is the best time to see this flower is from July to September, when this park is open, obviously. It also includes subalpine forest birch as well as rhododendrons, the kind of trees that are available at higher reaches of Himalayas. And this valley abounds medicinal plants and herbs as well as flowers of religious significance, including the Brahm Kamal, which is offered to the goddess Nanda Devi, right? So this is why it is linked with Nanda Devi, which is also the second tallest mountain peak in India after Kanchenjunga. Any doubts? If you don't have any doubt, let's see how many of you are able to solve this question. Now, suppose if you have not read about Valley of Flowers National Park, now this question, you could have at least arrived at some kind of an answer in this question using common sense, because Manas National Park is located in Assam. Neora Valley National Park is located in West Bengal. So automatically these two states do not have complete temperate alpine zones. So the choice between must have been Namdapha National Park located in Arunachal Pradesh as well as Valley of Flowers located in Uttarakhand, right? So you could have at least guessed 50-50 out of these questions, right? Correct answer obviously is Valley of Flowers National Park, because I told you exclusively, right? So Bagaspinks, Sarang, Chini, Mini, Yashi, Shushmita, Rishi, Kanchan, Reshma, Tony, I'm not able to pronounce your Nakiniki. Sorry, I'm not able to pronounce your name. Now this question. Now this is a tricky question. Well, Govind Pashu Vihar Wildlife Sanctuary, it is located in district of Uttarkashi, right? Not a part of Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. Kedarnath Wildlife Sanctuary, it is located also in Chamoli district, but this does not form a part of Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. So these two are the part or included in Nanda Devi Biosphere Reserve. So 1 and 2 is the right answer. Yes. Now let us talk about country Colombia, because see, this tomato festival was organized in Colombia. No, we are not talking about Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, and we are not talking about Spain. Do not worry. Okay. This is a picture from Colombia. Now, why are we discussing Colombia? Because Gran Tomatina Colombiana was celebrated in Colombia, and this is quietly copied from Spain's La Tomatina festival, the one which you saw in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, right? Now, earlier, why Colombia was in news? Colombia had withdrawn a statement offering condolence to Pakistan after an Indian parliamentary delegation led by the most famous of the parliamentarians in India, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, they explained in detail how Islamabad is relentlessly supporting and perpetrating the terrorism in India. Now, Colombia, otherwise you may have heard about the country, it is famous for this person, the most notable drug trafficker ever, Pablo Escobar. But no, we are not discussing about narcos, we are discussing about country Colombia, which is known as a gateway of South America because this country lies at a particular location which allows it to connect with other parts of Central America, right? So that is why it is called as a gateway, because it connects South America with Central and North America, and the capital city of Colombia is Bogota, right? Now, it is one of the 13 countries through which equator passes. So, please remember this. And it is bordered by countries Venezuela and Brazil in the east, Panama, Peru and Ecuador in the south, and water bodies Caribbean Sea and Pacific Ocean. So, the abbreviation of these countries which Colombia borders is VP as well as EPB, right? So this is the abbreviation that you need to remember, the bordering countries of Colombia. Now, important geographical features of Colombia is that Pico Cristobal Colon is the highest point or highest peak in the region. Nevado del Ruiz is an active volcano in Colombia, and major rivers that are draining through the region includes Magdalena, Amazon, not website, the river Amazon, and Orinoco, right? Similarly, so let's see how many of you are able to solve this practice question. Yes, a lot of weightlifting happens in Bogota. So these Latin American countries, they are very active in fighting sports or weightlifting sports. Cuba is a powerhouse when it comes to boxing. Colombia, besides drug, is also famous, as Baga Spinks informed me. I did not know this before. It's a lot of weightlifting happens. I thought Central Asian Republic countries are powerhouse in weightlifting. See, out of these, Chile is not a country through which the land borders of Colombia shared. Rest 5 are options. So option C is the right answer. Yes, Jui, Reshma, Mini, Chini, Sarang, Yashi, Bishwajit, all of you are correct. No, Rishi, not B. Okay. So this brings an end to our today's discussion. After a long time, we have been able to cover 6 articles today. I'm very happy. Okay. So this ends our today's session. You can download the notes in Telegram channel ATS Live. Okay. Okay. Competitions happen in Bogota or Azerbaijan. Okay. So this is the end of our today's session. We'll see each other again. Please have a very good day. Okay.